Okay, dating series number 5 billion and
well,
35.
you lost count.
Lost count
Already?
But
well,
this
number
is,
10. This is
okay,
number 10.
number 10. What guys won and what girls won?
So last week, just to recap, we started off breakout rooms. So we had the girls in their breakout room, then the guys. So the girls had a few questions to the guys that they wanted the guys to focus on and hopefully answer tonight. And the same with the guys. So who do we start with? Girls, guys? You just pick?
Don't they say ladies first? I don't know.
Ladies first.
Ladies first. So we're going to get started with the girls. I guess, Natasha, would you like to get started and represent
So I guess the guys wanted us to discuss, like when you're going on a first date, what makes you actually say no or yes? Let's see. What makes you decide to agree to go on a second date? And we said that attraction, connection, and compatibility are what the 3 things that we would be looking for if we want to go on a second date.
Say that again. Attraction, something, compatibility. Say that again.
Attraction, connection, and compatibility.
Attraction, connection, compatibility. Okay.
I like it. I have a question. Perhaps, and it's probably because the words all have similar meanings, but I'm curious if you had a specific idea in mind of the difference between connection and compatibility, or if those were just kind of the same thing when you guys discussed it.
Well, I think that, attraction's obviously obvious. We got that one there. But then compatibility is like shared values. And then connection, I think, is more of just, it's something that's often nonverbal too. It's just like there when you just feel like, when you go on a date and you're searching for the next question to ask them, or you can see in their eyes that they're literally just thinking of what's next. What should I ask next? When you're having good conversation, you don't see that in their brain, like, oh no, what should I ask next? So I think that's generally what it is like you just start talking and you don't feel like you're having this filtered, like weird conversation. It just flows more easily. I think that would be connection.
You're talking about free-flowing banter. Basically, that's something that can come like from both guys and girls. It just depends on how cool you are with making conversation based on just about anything.
And I think that honestly comes with practice. I know that sounds bad, but I think the more dates you go on, the better you become at just like keeping up a conversation, keeping up the flow of a conversation, knowing which types of questions to ask people. And I think guys can often feel that pressure probably of like, oh, what do I ask her next? What do we talk about? But I think if a guy's really passionate about something and can like explain it, let's say you really like video games, like explain it, but explain it in a way that's relatable to the person. And I think on both sides, boys and girls, like if you ask questions, it ends up being a better conversation.
I think also, can I add to that?
Yeah, I'm just talking. I'm literally babbling.
Oh, it's okay. I think also like the conversation should be a conversation, not just 20 questions and like answering it back and forth. So it flows and it doesn't have to be necessarily getting to know the basics of you, of just like what you actually have in common and your thoughts. Like that's it, plain and simple. You know, if it doesn't turn into a simple conversation that is redirected into more conversation rather than 20 questions, I think it's a key factor.
That's 100% right, because I think I went on a phone date or a FaceTime date a couple weeks ago, and he just started asking me like spitfire questions where it was like, what's your favorite Starbucks order? And like, what are your pet peeves? And then he asked me like, what are my pet peeves? And then he just started answering his own question, telling me his pet peeves. And I was just like, I'm not doing this again. Like I was like 30 minutes. Okay, time to go. So I think that generally like that you can read the signs. If you ask a question, then you're answering your own question. It's not going to work well. And 20 questions is not a fun game to play.
Yes, it is.
Unless they're like funny questions, but like, I don't know. Some guy asked me if I was a vegetable, what kind of vegetable would I be? You want to try that one?
I mean, okay, no,
that's pretty funny.
What you mean.
It was funny, actually. It makes you think.
What was your answer? I'm curious.
Oh, it was so pretentious. I'm gonna be radicchio, which is like an Italian vegetable, of course.
Oh, you'd be a leek.
Okay. Do you guys want to move on to something else? Because we're just chatting away. Let's see. The guys wanted us to discuss.
Also, by the way, if any of the girls, because Natasha is obviously doing a great job and representing you, but it should be a conversation. So please jump in at any point and say what you want to say. You know, that would be.
Can I ask a question to everyone? I just want to ask a question. What do you think would happen if you have? Is this possible? Is it possible to have a first date with a really cool guy who's sociable? He gets the social scene. He's super cool in business, and he'll get your attraction, and he'll get your conversation. But not necessarily all those people are the best. Would you agree that not necessarily all those people are the best people to actually live an entire life with? Not always. Sometimes they could be. But just because they're giving off a great impression in the first time, that just means that they have certain social skills that gets them. Maybe they have ego problems. Maybe they have controlling issues, that they are very empowering. So, okay, they're great. That means they're really good in business, and they'll be really good in certain areas of life. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be the best husband. I'm just throwing this out there. This is the first thought that comes to my mind is, hey, okay, you've got this cool guy who knows how to, do the talk, walk the look, do the looks and walk the talk. I don't know what they say, right? But he can get you, and he knows everything. His haircut is to the point. You know these guys. Perfect haircut. His pants are just made. It looks like if he would have it a tiny bit tighter, it wouldn't work. If it was any wider, it wouldn't work. Everything about him is perfect.
Rabbi, I don't understand the question. What are you saying?
I'm saying.
What, are you just going to keep describing Ben Malad the whole time?
That's great. Listen, guys, we have
I literally just texted Ben that. I said, that's you.
Okay, to the point.
Oh
we're going to get to
That
the
looks
point,
amazing.
so we're not wasting time. So
Okay, that was my point is that do you think that through a first date, somebody who can actually give you a great impression means that he's going to be a great husband in the future? And is there a chance that people are turning away? This is just a general question. I'm not giving an answer to this. But is there a chance that people are turning away from the right one, from a kind husband, a good husband, because they're looking for the cool, savvy guy that can just know how to talk?
I mean, that's entirely possible. Depends on depends on how insecure you are and how focused you are, as we've been talking about for the last 10 or so weeks.
I mean, is it to do with insecurity, or is it to do with a certain style,
Not always,
personality?
but
I think that's a question to the girls, no?
What if you get bored from the average guy, and the other one is more exciting, even though you know that it's not the best for long term?
Exactly, that's my question. This is exactly what I'm trying to get to is, okay, you've got this cool guy, but who says that coolness is looking at a long-term picture,
Rabbi, it's hard to differentiate it. I'll be honest with you.
Right.
Okay.
It is a difficult thing.
Mm-hmm.
Can the boring guy have good conversation? Because that's an important part. I mean, if the cool guy has all the talking and you're having this great time with him, and the other guy, he's got all these other great qualities, and he'd be a kind husband, but you can't have a good conversation with him, or you don't feel
Yeah, I'm not talking about a guy like that, but I'm just giving off this idea of the certain people that are very socially perfectional. They're brilliant socially, but it doesn't guarantee that they're going to be the best husband.
I think another thing to look for on a first date is authenticity. You have to judge, are they being an authentic person with you? Are they trying to put up this front? Can they be human? Can they
I honestly
laugh about it?
Yeah. I mean, I personally like the word authenticity over the word connection, because connection is only one date. How do I know? Maybe he's got some really good skills hidden up his sleeve. Authenticity is a much greater indicator on a first date than connection. It's just, is anyone feeling this? Getting what I'm saying?
I think you're right. And some guys are really good at playing playing games or playing a certain persona when they go on the first few dates. But then, like, obviously it's something that you see over time, like just giving anything time. I know that's a little bit vague and maybe not the answer everyone was looking for, but like just giving it time and spending more. I don't want to be redundant. Doing more things and experiencing more things with a person kind of gives you an idea of who they are. But I feel like
so everyone knows I don't play games.
Good guy, Ben Malad. He ticked the boxes.
Wait, what kind of games?
All right.
So the guys also wanted the girls to discuss if we had a good time and good chemistry and it ended really well, why would you say you want to just be friends the next day? What changed? Generally, I would think that means that you might have thought that there was a lot of chemistry there, but there wasn't. Because if there was, then the girl wouldn't say the next day they just want to be friends. They would want to be more than friends, obviously. I think that's just, and it happens with girls too. There's often times you go on a date and you think that the guy's going to be crazy about you and text you the next day and send you flowers or whatever. And then you get ghosted or you get like very minimal texting. They call it breadcrumbing, just kind of keeping you along, pulling you along a little bit. And then they just kind of drop off. And that means he wasn't that into you either.
Time out.
All right, Dan, you're in.
This message must have been lost in translation, but you literally wrote in the question, do not say that you actually weren't into the guy. Just trust, right? Because there are, that's obviously the right answer, right? But also the easy answer. There are scenarios where you just, basically the person that asked this question, I fully trust their read on the situation. And I really do believe that the girl was actually excited about it and was actually into him. And that person shared facts that made it very clear that the girl was interested in him at the time.
Why doesn't he just ask the girl?
Great question. Beyond a reasonable doubt. So he can't ask the girl. I believe he did ask the girl, actually. Or no. Whatever. That was what we suggested in the man cave. But there are obviously things that could cause a girl to be into it during the date and not into it later, which I think would be helpful for this person or anyone else thinking that to hear. For example, like maybe the girl is closed off and she's worried about, being hurt by someone that she really likes. So she might be scared and say like, maybe I'm just going to focus on my job or like whatever it is, right? That's one example. Another example is that she could be talking to someone else and she decided to, get serious with that person or whatever, right? Those are two examples. I could think of more, but the point is to hear it from.
Yeah, the person who asked this, the person who brought this up in the man house, as Dan said, made it like super clear that this person was like
into that,
utterly shocked. Yeah, so like assume the girl herself was like, "Hey, I'm gonna see you again, right? We'll do this again." Then what happened?
But more than just that, like, because that could be just like she's just saying that to be nice. Just trust us that she was actually into him, and then things changed.
So I can tell you, maybe he didn't text her, maybe he didn't ask her, "Hey, text me when you get home so I know you got home okay." Maybe he didn't say the next day, maybe he didn't follow up with her and text her something so that she'd know that there was a connection continuing. If he waited a few days, like 2 or 3 days to text her after their date, she might have been like, you know what, this guy doesn't like me enough. I want someone who's more proactive. Or maybe he did text her and then she goes, "Oh, I'm afraid he's texting me too much. This seems like it's going to get too intense too quickly."
My thing is, look, whoever that happened to, I apologize that happened to you, because if someone says like, "I want to see you again," I'll be like, I wouldn't necessarily say like, yes, I want to see you again back. You know, you kind of have to be upfront. But if they did have a great time and they were willing to see them again, then maybe they were talking to someone else and got more excited about the other person. Or kind of what Natasha said, like they were being a little bit bombarded. Because if someone's pulling up my phone after I just meet them, then I get a little overwhelmed too. So it could just be a few different things. But I personally wouldn't say I had a great time too if I wasn't willing to see them the second time.
I think that the moral of the story is that there's a lot of intricacies when it comes to dating and like what you think about somebody. And yes, it's great that there's a connection and you're really into them, but that's not the only thing that people look for. So yeah, they could have just left and been like, okay, well, that was great and I really like them. But, and then there's like a list of a million things that could be going on in her mind. And it could have to do with like cultural things. It could have to do with just like you talking to other people, but you're not going to know unless you ask them. And if you don't want to ask them or you can't ask them, you're just going to have to like deal with the fact that like they just didn't want to go on a second date. But as far as the whole situation with guys saying like, a lot of times when guys leave a date, they'll ask and be like, oh, I can't wait to see you for a second date. And girls feel like we're put in this on the spot. And so we'll say, yeah, of course, because we're not going to be like, no, thanks. And then guys will take that as like, oh my gosh, okay, so she said she's down for a second date. Then like, we're going to go on a second date, and it gives them hope. And then like, we don't end up following up. So like, don't base your judgments of how it went on did the girl agree to a second date? Because a lot of times we might say that because we feel like we're put on the spot.
I will say that that is not what led this person to believe.
Yeah, that's
maybe
not.
Maybe this person should.
No, you guys are skirting around it, but okay, we'll take it. That's not. You guys are skirting around the real answer.
Hold up.
No, you guys are breadcrumbing us with the real answer.
I'm literally telling you. Like,
well, this also sounds very situational too, because it sounds very personal. Like everyone has things going on in their life. Like I don't know her, I don't know him. Like I don't know.
But the constructive thing would be to come up with various examples of things that it could be. I would imagine, right?
Give us a real example. You want examples of when we say we're going to go on the date with you and then we just don't?
Guys, this question is more.
We're talking to other people.
Right.
You have done something that either, like, as Natasha was saying, maybe he waited to text her.
Or he blew up the phone.
Or he blew up the phone. Or the other. Maybe asked too soon for a second date.
This is good.
I think that girls sometimes are just as bad as guys, and because guys sometimes it depends on the girl's mood, and when
maybe she was in a bad mood. Maybe he caught her.
Other way around.
When she was really upset.
Maybe she really wanted him at one time, so she was like, "Oh yeah, I love you," and then like the next day she's like, treated the deed, so she doesn't like him as much anymore. Hold on. Yes, Mom?
Wait, obviously
it sounds silly, but it's
sorry.
true.
Sorry, guys, I just got here. I came a little bit late. So are we talking about why girls say yes and then no to a second date?
Yes.
Hi, Becca.
Hi, Becca. Welcome on board.
Becca, I'm going to repeat the question for you because you are insightful and will give a good answer, so it's worth it. So basically,
Dan's not happy with our answer so far.
Yeah. Actually, all right. Dan, repeat the question.
I am happy.
I think he got some insights.
And then she was done.
All right, Dan, repeat the question.
But I want Becca to be able to contribute since she asked. So the concept was the girl had a great time on the date, clearly expressed she had a great time on the date. And this is the hard part that's tough to conceptualize. But you have to trust that we got enough information from the guy who asked to know that this girl was actually into him and excited about him on the date. And then later changed her mind and didn't want to go on a second date. So she was like really excited about it obviously based on physical and verbal cues, and then changed her mind. So We're looking for reasons why a girl could be really into a guy on the date, but then later not be into it.
Okay, got it. So have you ever in your life, not related to dating at all, made a decision about something before you thought about it fully, and then afterwards, when you thought about it more, realized that it's not exactly what you want just because you had more time to think and were in a different type of environment?
Yes.
Yes.
And there are various factors that led to that in various situations. So what could be factors in this situation?
It could be a lot of things. It could be that maybe like there is like another guy who she feels like she's more in. Like, I don't think it usually is the case. It could be that for some reason she thought, you know, like I thought I was so interested like when I was with him, but now that I'm not with him, I can think differently, like from a different perspective, like being just by myself and not having him right in front of me. I don't know what all the other girls said, but
that's very
there's never one specific reason. Like there's so many reasons, and I think most of it comes from the perspective you have when someone is in front of you and when you're in a certain moment, and then afterwards when you have time on your own to think about it more deeply.
I think it also has to do with the person's personal life too. You have no idea what's going on in that person's head.
Right. Oh, also a lot of guys pressure girls to say yes to a second date.
This was
like a lot of guys
already.
will say like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, just it's like clearly very important. Like there have been a lot of times where I've been on a date and the guy says, "So, like, I can't wait to see you again." And what am I supposed to say to that?
It's true.
So the question,
but again, we have enough information from this person to know that that's not the case. She was truly interested.
Oftentimes we analyze with our friends afterwards too. So it's not an only one person thing. Like I go on a date, I'm going to talk to Becca right after that date, tell her every single detail about that date. And then she's going to help me break down these details. We're going to examine whether this guy is really into me, and if he's, I don't know, if he's like the man of my dreams or not, whatever. That's what women do. We break down the date afterwards with our friends, and sometimes with 10 friends. So now we've got 10 different perspectives on the one date that we've went on. And now we're internalizing all of those friends' perspectives, even though they weren't on the date. So then we can make a decision about this guy based off of not only our own experience, but on our friends' opinions of our experience.
But it's not just that girls are like, you know, it's not that girls' friends are changing their minds. It's that a lot of times girls have to talk about things out loud to be able to understand what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Asking 10 people about... Hold up. Asking 10 people about a date sounds like a terrible idea. It means you have no idea what you're thinking, and it means like you can't even tell what the date went like yourself. Why do you need to do that?
No, it's because we talk it out with other people. That's how we analyze. That's how we understand
how
we're already. Why don't you talk it out with like one other person who knows you really well instead of 10 people? This makes no sense to me.
Well, it's not always 10.
That's how women work.
Pick a number. It wasn't like an actual number.
It's not just. It's not specifically a religious number of 10. You have to understand.
But take a point from the guy's point of view. Let's say you go with a girl and you had a great time. You thought it was the best date, and you feel like she thought it was the best date. Then the next day she comes and tells you, sorry, it just wasn't working out. Do you want to go on a date again with that person? Like, they basically weren't who you thought they were. Like, imagine if you went on 8 dates and then she told you. Wouldn't you rather want to know on the first date that what you thought the date was like was not what you actually thought? You guys weren't on the same page. So,
or you guys were on the same page and like, literally something like, oh, he doesn't feel as strongly about Judaism as I do, or like he's not a big enough Zionist for me. Like literally anything like that is enough for me to be like, oh yeah, you were cool, I had a great time, but I don't want to see you again. Like it's just not gonna work.
I think
like there are very small things, Jonathan, that could like play into it, but don't like think it's your fault is what I'm trying to say. It's like,
but Jonathan, that is a really great point there.
Yeah, Jonathan, it's not your fault.
Can I also piggyback off of what Melody was saying? It's kind of like sometimes you can feel like you're having a great date and you could feel like it's amazing and you're vibing. But again, like Melody was saying, small things kind of add up and you're like, well, I don't want, and you can internalize it. And when you talk to your friends sometimes about things that are important to you that you don't realize are important sometimes, then you realize that you don't want to go on a second date with them.
I think also right now with dating, everyone's super sensitive right now. Like in any situation. So I
in
think,
the world, we're super sensitive right now.
I think anything could just trigger like a turn off like that. And that which sucks. But
I think
example, people are fragile right now.
I think also back to what Melody and Julia were saying is that like you can have a really good time with someone, but still don't feel like you're compatible romantically.
I have a good example if you guys want.
We mulled this question over for like 15 minutes. Can we move on?
Omri, relax.
1 second, please.
Omri, we're talking about it. This is what this class is. They want to know.
Discussion.
I went on a date with a Jewish doctor. Successful.
Wow, go you.
You think I should just go get married now, right? But
yeah, because he's a Jewish doctor.
And we had a nice time, and we had something where I think a connection could have been formed. He's intelligent. We could have good conversation. We talked for like 7 hours, which is a long time to sit and talk with somebody. Okay. But he didn't believe that the coronavirus stuff was as serious as I believed it is. And he also had differing views on vaccinations. That was enough for me to be like, I guess I'm not seeing him again because I don't feel safe. I don't feel comfortable. And when we have children, I already went to when we have children, we won't agree on a major issue. And I could see that the way that he was going to handle those issues wasn't going to be kind with me. So I didn't go on a second date, and he got very upset. But that was enough for me to say I couldn't go on a second date. Wow. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but I knew that our values weren't going to line up, and that's what I could see right away. So there was, even if we had a nice connection, it didn't matter. It was like my major values with his values weren't going to line up.
Natasha is not a shaper, so that's good.
Yeah, you recognize
you can find
the
someone
difference.
else.
Yeah,
that's a good.
That's a good thing. That's a good. I think
Would you
example.
say that that's kind of like what we're missing? Is that's the case most of the time? That if the biggest reason that you
it's something small. Yeah, it's not necessarily what you guys do. It's something more internal or that we don't see.
So what one point to
realize that there's something missing romantically.
One point, girl. When the girls say they can't find nice guys, you have a nice guy in front. I'm not saying that.
Don't go there. Don't go there, dude.
No, that's a whole different thing because girls want a guy who is nice and compatible and there's a connection and their values align and what they want in the future align. Nice is just the word that we use to cover all of those things.
I'm just going to throw this out there.
One point.
How are you going to find all of that out in the 1.5 hours?
Exactly.
I spent 7 hours talking to him, so I found out a lot, and then I decided.
Okay. Well, you did.
Natasha,
you gave it 7. You gave it 7 hours, but the typical date is not 7 hours. The typical date is an hour and a half, and then the girl is like, "I gotta go home. Sorry, I gotta go feed my cat." So you can't say that. That's not one date.
Trust your judgment. You're smart. You're smart. I'm not saying that every date you guys have went on after the first date. Why didn't you go on a second date? All I'm saying is, you guys want a nice guy, right? Every girl says, I want a nice guy. You had a nice guy in front of you in one of those dates. Maybe he was a little bit more truthful than a not so nice guy. He told you things that a not so nice guy wouldn't tell you on the first date, right? Because they're a little bit more closed off. They don't want to tell you those things. If you have a guy who's being honest a little bit more, take that for face value, right? In a relationship, there is a 50-50. You have to have a balance. So I'm not saying that like you're wrong for not like agreeing on his viewpoints. All I'm saying is like it's a relationship. You got to balance. There's going to be some things you agree on, some things you don't. I don't think there's like one thing you could say that's it. That's all I'm saying. That's the only.
Well, Jonathan, have you ever been on a date with a girl and at the end you just realized like you weren't feeling it, or like even during?
No, 100%. I'm just saying like, out of how many? 1 out of 5? Yeah, but like that's all I'm saying. It's like what percentage?
That was I think that there are certain things that you should be able to like compromise on if you're in a relationship or dating, but there are certain things that some people don't compromise on. I don't compromise when it comes to Judaism or like anything like that. So like what might be perceived to you as something small could be something that someone else thinks is very big and important to them.
That's a fair point.
Depends.
It's very good point.
It's important to me for my man to have a Shabbos belly.
Oh my goodness.
Nice.
Molly, you should add it to your list.
Can I just say one thing?
Molly, is that why you don't respond to my DMs?
Molly, can we make Shaughn's Belly t-shirts? And I don't know what if you want it to be like holla in the background, but I know you
The
love
holla six pack.
I really that is okay.
Natasha got an idea.
Let me just say that quote that Melody just said, I don't compromise when it comes to Judaism. Music to my ears.
Love hearing it.
Definitely music to ours, that's for sure.
I think all of us on the Zoom would agree.
I was just gonna say, I'm pretty sure.
That's cool. Okay, so what are we up to right now? So we know how we're moving on because we want to give time for everyone.
The guys can answer now. Now we can do some of the questions that the girls.
Yeah,
had
maybe let's do that. Let's bounce to the guys. And do something like that. Maybe Dan, you have the questions, right?
I do indeed have the questions.
Sorry?
I do.
Sure.
You want
I can ask it to you.
Oh, or yeah, I mean, Natasha, you can
the
ask
girls'
him
questions to the guys, or another guy's question to the girls.
How do we know?
Girl question to the guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. How do we know if you're actually serious or just trying to hook up? And then, or we can answer what kinds of things would scare a guy off a first date.
Those are two questions. Which one do you want?
One at a time.
Pick one. Which one would you like to start with?
Do the scaring off one. I think.
Okay, scaring off.
Yeah.
What would scare you off, guys? How do we scare you off?
I think it's personally very normal to think about, like, okay, are they a good marriage partner right away? But if they bring that idea up on the first date, I'm like, okay, no way. Like, I went on one date where a girl was like, yeah, I think I want so-and-so kids and I want to, get married, relatively soon. And like, that's perfectly fine to have those thoughts. But I'm like, I know your name and your job and like where you're from. That's not the fourth thing I want to know. Let that come up more naturally once I know you a little bit better.
Right. I have a rebuttal to that.
Saying she wants to get married to
Hold up.
You.
Okay, so don't plan our wedding on the first date. Got it.
I mean, I plan it internally too in my head, but I don't feel like it's turn off. They share it out loud.
Don't make wedding plans with our date.
Yo, there's an important detail that needs to be mentioned about that. Everyone that was in the WhatsApp group knows this because I mentioned it. I think it's important to bring up marriage if you're dating, if you're going on a date with a Jewish girl who at least somewhat seems religious. And I'll tell you something. I went on 2 dates this past week with this one girl, and she's really nice and everything. And on the first date, I asked her, because we were matched together on a matchmaking site, right? And I just have my profile there. It was pretty funny how this all happened. But, I asked her, like, hey, do you have a timeline when it comes to marriage thing? Because the undertone in a lot of these matchmaking sites is that, you're expected to get married. And she's like, yeah, within a year minimum, 2 years maximum, I want to get married. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. So it was good that I asked it at that time, because if I didn't ask it, who the hell, I wouldn't have known. I mean, it would have probably come up at some point, but, I think it was something important to get out of the way on the first date. That's like a very pragmatic thing. So obviously it makes sense in certain contexts, and that's what I'm saying.
Oh, wow.
Any other guys have opinions?
Anyone else?
For the one story of it being a good thing, I can think of 3 where it was a bad one.
Okay, then it depends. Dude, I gave you when I think it would be a good situation. You obviously have a brain. You can use logic to apply that to the next date you go on.
I agree with Omri with the part with, like, sometimes I think it's important, like, to let the person know, okay, just so you know, I am looking for, like, a long-term relationship, or, like, maybe I'm not looking for it. Like, to let them know on the first date, I think that's important, because, like, if I say I'm looking for something long-term and the other person isn't, like, why go on a second date?
Yeah, and that kind of transparency, honestly, could probably alleviate, like, maybe, no, I'm exaggerating, but it could alleviate a lot of, like, really weird issues and miscommunication between guys and girls.
It's the first question I ask.
I was going to say, no, I agree what you're looking for, but I think what Jordan was getting more at is don't tell, like, your whole everything you want. Like, you can say, I'm looking for a relationship, or I'm looking more to get married.
Exactly. I'm not saying, I think it's great to be upfront with your intentions. That way you're not wasting your time, but like, don't.
I want 5 kids. They're all going to be named this.
So other than like the future, like talking about like marriage or kids,
too much in the future.
What else is there? Any guys?
Isn't really so I told them in the men group, I was like, I couldn't really answer this question because it really, maybe I'm not scared. I'm an open book. You can ask me whatever on the first.
Joe has no fear.
Okay, so it depends on the guy.
Yeah, it really depends on the guy. Like whatever Omri said or whatever Jordan said, like it doesn't really bother me. I think the only thing maybe would scare me, the kid thing. I don't know if someone said, "Hey, I don't want to have kids." Good for you. I kind of do. So that would be maybe like a flag, but it would, like it doesn't really scare me. So like there's nothing.
So
really
like what is something that not scare you, but like take you a kind of to be like whoa.
Other than like maybe religious levels, I can't really think of something unless she said, "Hey, I'm a murderer." There's nothing. There's nothing that you could ask me that would catch me off guard because we're dating obviously to get to know me. So to me, it really doesn't matter if you ask me on the first date or a week later on the second date. It really doesn't.
And just to go off that point.
By the way, I don't know how old Omri is or how old Jordan is. Maybe it's an age thing. I don't know. How old are you guys? I don't know. So
I'm 50.
Okay, I'm going to agree, but Joseph, I wanted to ask if you want to have kids and the girl tells you up front she doesn't want to have kids. Like for me, that's a no brainer, no sense.
That's a turn on.
No, but the question was, what scares you? I mean, okay.
Hold on, you don't want her. You don't want her to want to have. Like, you don't want her to talk about marriage, but then you want her to say that she doesn't want to have, like, whether she wants to have kids or not.
Well, he's talking about hypotheticals. Like, what if a girl said this?
Right.
No, it's okay with me if someone talks about marriage.
That's the problem is you guys are focusing. Like, if I say I'll talk about, I mean, I have no filter, so good luck for me, right? But I'll say whatever I want to say. If I want to say, yeah, I've been taking this dating class. It's called, it's run by Aishlit. I do talk about this on dates. So again,
awesome.
Good luck for me. All the time.
Well, you know what? You're open. You'll find that right person that way. Therefore, that's how you know.
So other than
when I said marriage, so
honestly,
other than anything,
if it scares the person. So I guess the answer is if it doesn't scare the other person, then you guys are compatible because obviously, like you guys are looking for the same thing. So I guess.
I think it really depends
there is
on
no
the
answer.
values.
Sorry, what were you saying, Sarah?
I think it really depends on each person's values and what could really scare the person.
I have something to add.
Yeah, like I think everyone has different values. I mean, maybe it has to do with family or like Jews and how religious you are, or like what you like to do in your free time or how you go out. Like anything specific could scare off that person because it doesn't match up with their values.
Right. It depends on how big the difference is from what you're expecting.
Okay, I think.
Right. Sam, what were you going to say?
Sam.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, this isn't really necessarily something that would like scare me off, but I think I've been on dates with girls where it seems like they're not fully present. Like maybe they're thinking about something else, maybe maybe they bring up a past relationship more than once in an awkward manner. Maybe they don't seem actively interested in getting to know me and seeing if I'm really, worth it or not. And so, but that could be the case for a guy too. It's not exclusively for a girl, but I think that would be something that would make me not want to do a second date for sure. So.
Right. Well, yeah, those
are good ones. I think that's a really good one. Bringing up past relationships. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm guilty of that one. Like early on, right after I got out of my relationship, it was easy to be like, I spent 5 years with someone. What else do I talk about? Except for everything that I did was with one person. Now I changed stories to a friend.
Dan, what were you going to say?
A friend.
Good move, Natasha.
Yeah.
And share about past relationships. In my opinion.
That's tricky because I think if obviously everyone's had a relationship that really defines some aspect of their life, especially if it's been for more than like 2 or 3 years maybe. So like you can bring it up. Like that's not necessarily a problem. But if it becomes a focus when you're trying to get to know me, that could be too much, I think. So
I've heard from guys that not saying thank you, I don't know who doesn't say thank you, but like when a girl doesn't say thank you, that's just really like that scares them away. Like, wow, that's a big red flag there. But that would be obvious for both parties, I think, just being appreciative. What about texting too much? What if we text you too much? And what's too much?
That'd be weird.
Not on the date.
I personally don't think that's a problem, but I think expectations of like sort of like expecting the guy to text at the same level because you've been texting a lot could be a problem. But again, that's not specific to guys. That's just in general a problem, I think. So
also in general,
that's also something that's personal. Like some people like.
In general, so much of this, like on a first date, what scares you, what doesn't, it's very subjective and very personal per person. It's like what scares me, nothing, by the way, may not scare someone else, or vice versa. Like bringing up having kids, like I'm down for that, but some people might be more sensitive to that. It's like there really isn't like a single list of stuff. Don't bring this up on a date. It really comes down to how honest you want to be and how confident you are in your ability to articulate that and make the other person feel comfortable at the same time. It's like, listen, you can even start off by saying this, like, hey, listen, I don't want to scare you, but I know it's our first date and all, but like, would you like, how many kids do you want? Or like, can I talk about my ex with you? And like, you kind of just have to gauge it in the moment. It's not very like, it's not a formula. It's not like, don't say these 5 times. It kind of just has to do with read the room at the end of the day. Like if you're with this person, maybe you were texting beforehand and you know them a little bit, or maybe it's a blind date. You just got set up. Like, okay, fine. Maybe bring up the kids thing, like on the third date or something. Like, I think it really just has to do with like everyone's own discretion and like, or your personality. Like Natasha, if you want to bring up the old thing about your ex, because that's how you like, subconsciously want to like kind of gauge this or something. But like, I'm just saying like, it's okay to talk about whatever you want, as long as you're making everybody feel comfortable. And it's not just like kind of out of the blue. And, like everyone's personality is different, but at the end of the day, you're dating. If you're dating and you're in this seminar, you're practicing effective dating, and you just have to, be calm and know what you want to say when you want to say it.
So, wow. Can I ask the next question? How do we know you're actually serious or just trying to hook up? Because
I have an answer to this.
We need answers, because that's probably the worst one.
This does not apply to any of you guys in here, by the way.
Just like, or just maybe think of your younger self. Think of yourself before A-Schlit, before you got serious about dating. Think of those times when you were just, I
have a couple of answers, and they're not Jack and Shira appropriate.
Okay, well then filter them and turn them into...
Well, then you can't say them now.
We can save them for later.
Yeah.
Here's what I think.
This is a good sign.
Only put them in the group.
I already did.
I think a lot of them. So I think among guys, especially when you're hanging out with your buddies, it's a huge thing to like talk about hooking up, and there's a lot of like pressure around that. Even it's a lot of fun, obviously, but it's also like sometimes it gets played up a bit, and you can kind of tell when a guy is really interested in hooking up because they might hint at it more, or they might not really be fully paying attention to the conversation. I think maybe they're dropping more hints, maybe they're just not really like, it doesn't feel like it's more of a get to know the person. It feels like it's more of about to lead to a hookup instead. So, and then also a lot of guys want to go back and be like, oh dude, like there's this really hot girl, and whatever, like that happens too. So especially among younger guys, I think.
I have a question for guys that I've heard regarding this topic. Is it true that there's like a 3-date rule where if you, there's like a certain mission you have in mind, and if you do not accomplish that mission within 3 dates?
I've actually, no, she's right. I've actually heard that's the mindset some people have when it comes to secular dating. Obviously, it's not something that you can generalize, but I definitely know what she's talking about.
It's not
the question though.
Wait, can you let Melody? Hold on, Melody. Can you clarify?
Yeah, let her finish the rest.
Like, just finish the question.
So, like, my point is that a lot of times because Sammy mentioned times guys will put on some sort of like facade and act for the first few dates just so that they can get somewhere and hope that like they can land something by that third date. So I think that's why, like, when we were discussing as a group, the girls, like, we actually had no idea how to tell because guys are so good at playing that game and coming off as if they're serious when in reality that's not exactly what they're trying to accomplish.
Not that I condone this behavior.
Fair point.
You could like test the guy.
What?
You could test him and see how serious he is, and there's ways to do that.
Like what, asking about marriage?
Elaborate.
I think that, Melody, with that idea, like, I think a good way to test the guy out is make them wait. Don't.
Yeah, that's one of them.
If you're willing.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna waste my time going on dates with a guy who's like gonna dip after the third date because he didn't get what he wants. So like, I wanna.
I'm just saying. I think you know that a guy is real if he's going on a third, fourth, fifth, sixth date. Like, I don't know. I would like to think no guy is gonna.
She's trying to short circuit the process and find out quicker. Some guys, they're just so unrelenting, you won't find out until later, and that just depends on what you want to put up with.
Well, some guys are just assholes. Like,
well, I mean, duh.
Facts.
I'm gonna say any nice Jewish boy that you find, especially in an H-lit or general like Jewish community like this,
might be named Gabe, for example.
Yeah.
Yes,
maybe not Ben.
Okay, they're probably not going to be playing you like with this mission in mind. Like, okay, 3 dates, I have this entire plan here. Like, and it's like, you know what?
Guys think about it like it's a formal plan. I think they just kind of like do it and don't.
Yeah, but honestly, I think that when it comes down to it, getting physical too, like it's really kind of instinctual. And like actually going back to a previous seminar that Jack and Shira, where they talked about like don't even touch them, you know, on the first date. Like that could be something that we could try. You know, I know it's not necessarily the norm, and right. To be fair, that's more of a an Orthodox Judaism like notion. However, like it may be totally worth it to try that out in this kind of new dating zone that we have going on here. I mean, like
I was gonna say COVID makes it a little bit easier to do that too, and like as an excuse.
Yep.
Good point.
Really
meet in the park and sit 6 feet apart and just sit
like,
with
I can't.
I would like to add a few points here just to make you all know, like there's ways that we can actually find out if somebody's serious or not based on, first of all, a lot of what you said, but here are some points. First of all, we can ask other people, find out through other people. And that is, research is really a good way of doing things. There's always a mutual friend that might know them. I really believe in having that kind of connection. That's how we do it. And I think it's really something if it's possible, that's something that you should do. And you shouldn't feel bad for doing research, finding out about the person that you're dating. If you know the guy is dating to marry is also a good sign. If he's talking about, not necessarily straight up talking about marriage, but he's giving off signs of a bigger picture in life. A college student is not giving off signs of a bigger picture in life other than his dream of getting a career. But somebody who's already, working can actually give off a certain picture of a future, how his life's going to look like in the future. These deeper conversations. This is already a sign that this is somebody who's dating to marry. You can never fully know, but these are points that I think are really important. His religious involvement is a sign, it's not a proof. Some people are very religious or come from a religious background.
Yeah, I'm about to say that.
They can come from a religious background, but they're
definitely not an example.
They're not an example. No. So, but in general, religious involvement is a good indication. Yeah. We can never know 100%. I'm just giving up some ideas here. If he's focusing on values as opposed to physicality, what are the conversations? Are the conversations only about touch, money, how he looks, how you look, physical, or is it about something deeper? If it's mostly about physical, then he's also thinking about how to be physical with the person he's dating. Okay, so that's on his mind too. And I've definitely seen from a number of people that through COVID, they have this has happened to a number of people that have called me, that through COVID, they dated a number of times online, and then eventually they actually got to meet the person in reality, and then they realized that the person's not for them. And I always mention how this is such a beautiful thing. Obviously, we don't want this environment, but it's really bringing up the best of spirituality. COVID has been bad for us physically, good for us spiritually. COVID-19 has really given us the ability to do things in a better way. Like when you actually see somebody before you touch them, and you have a conversation, and you really get to know them. So then when it comes to actually meeting them in person, so many things have already been opened up already, and some of the excitement of having someone has been pushed off already, and now you're actually just able to see the person for who they really are. So these are just some points that I think you can never really know.
Yeah, there's no guarantee for anything, but I think it can give clarity sometimes.
Giving clarity is something that we want to look for, and here are some things, okay? So
that was just to tap in
just
to the conversation.
Pointing in. Okay.
That's great.
So the one way to do it is to indicate that you're not going to do that for a very long time, if ever. And then if they're interested in that, then they'll stop. That's it.
Say it again.
That's a good response.
Sometimes guys see it as a challenge, though. Oh,
sure. So if they see it as a challenge and you wait, so first of all, you do have to wait at least a reasonable amount of time, and then.
What's a reasonable amount of time?
Dude, Natasha, think about what you just said. If they see it as a challenge, this guy's like, "Oh, I'm gonna try to change this girl."
We don't know.
They're not going to tell you that.
You said, "Oh, you're a challenge." We know.
If you tell a guy that you're not going to do that for, whatever it is, for months, and
yes, I talk about Ashlet 24/7. I think don't worry, they get the vibe.
He goes on 3 or 4 more dates with you, knowing that that's not in any type of near future. Then he's serious.
Yeah, then he has it in mind.
Very good.
That's definitely I think it's a good way to approach it.
Generally, I think that you should give the person you're on a date with the benefit of the doubt until they give you a reason not to trust them. Like if somebody, you don't go into it thinking, oh man, is he genuine or does he just want to hook up? Go into it thinking, oh, this guy's genuine. And then if you read the signs and somehow, and like Rabbi Jack said, all he's talking about is wanting to, make out or he's being really handsy on the date, and it's not consensual necessarily. Then you can reevaluate later. But I think you should just trust them until they give you a reason not to.
Guys, you were asking also before about the first date thing, and this conversation brought up for me this thought of I think a lot of guys say that they're looking for a girl to marry, and then they go on these dates. But on these dates, they don't put forth the effort to get someone worthy of marriage. Does that make sense? They're not, I feel like a lot of girls put in hours of energy and effort to look good for the guy, to make sure they're ready and put forth effort for the date. And I've noticed a lot of guys are very whatever about things. Oh, I'll show up like this, or kind of, not only physical stuff, it's also the thoughtfulness level of the date. And I just want to put forth this idea of, if you go into every date thinking I want to treat this person in the way that I would want to treat my future husband, wife, whatever. I know that sounds intense, but it's this person could be your husband or wife or whatever. So put forth your best effort versus kind of getting cynical and oh, I'm just going to get a drink with her. This is pre-COVID, but treat things respectfully, not only put in the effort, because the girl that you want for your wife doesn't want to be treated like every other girl or the way that you kind of just casually date about. So just a thought. I think guys need to go back a little bit more to that kind of chivalrous, old school style of dating, and a little bit of putting in the energy and effort and things.
Man,
I think you should give guys a little more credit here.
It's like the wooing. You gotta woo us first.
we asked the girl out. We planned the date. Maybe we pick her up. There's some stuff in the background.
That's what I'm saying. Do those things. Those are great things.
I think that it's hard for guys who do those things to realize that there are so many guys who don't.
Yes.
Wow.
I think the kind of dates that people are asked on, like Netflix and chill, or I don't know, to go watch a movie is like not the
yeah, guys, I never want to go on a movie for the first or to see a movie for the first 3 dates, because the first 3 dates should be purely about getting to know one another. And if you're watching a movie, you're not doing anything to get to know one another.
I agree with you, Becca.
Where are you girl? These guys, like this is.
Jenny, who is asking you to Netflix and chill? It's 2020.
Oh, they're out there.
Who's asking you out to a movie these days? I'm just saying.
Oh, wait.
Movie means Netflix and like Netflix.
But like, okay, let's say you're doing a picnic at the park. Bring something funny that you guys can bring. Bubbles, bring her some flowers. I don't care. It's just do something that's a little bit different and a little bit more energy versus just showing up like in your like sneakers and your shorts and you're like, hey, what's up? Like, don't do that. If you buy the $4 flowers and bring them to her, it doesn't matter. It will make her feel so much better, and you will stand out from literally every other guy in LA.
I will say that I entirely disagree with that.
Okay.
Dude, totally disagree.
That's like the classic, like, I don't want to put you in that category, but like, there's very often times when a girl thinks she wants one thing and is attracted to another thing. And that's the perfect example. Yep. If you bring a girl flowers on the first date, you're done. It's over.
Like, I think about it from a guy's perspective too, and I'm like, if a guy wants to take a girl flowers on every first date they go on, they're like, that's just like an absurd expectation to have, in my opinion. If I were a guy, like, I would feel bad for them. So like, I do agree, Natasha, that it's great, like maybe down the line, but I don't feel like guys should have the expectation per se, like every first date you go on, bring a girl flowers and like buy her a diamond ring. Like,
I'm saying make the date fun, make it cute.
I think like one time I was talking to a guy, and we're like, I'm pretty sure everyone here knows I'm obsessed with Diet Coke, and like I was telling him how much I love Diet Coke, and on the first date he brought me a Diet Coke.
That's very thoughtful.
I think that's what Natasha's kind of getting at.
Oh, that's good.
Like, do something meaningful and memorable for the first date for the girl.
It was 50 cents.
It doesn't have to be something big.
That's exactly it. Exactly it. If you bring her anything like that, that will mean so much more, because it means you listened to what she liked and you actually did something to just be kind and thoughtful. We don't get a lot of
the flowers can be like her favorite flowers, like if she was talking about it, like something I don't.
Right. I don't want to
always have to be
flowers on any date unless like they know that they're my favorite and it was relevant to something we were talking about.
Yeah. If someone brought me, and if we weren't talking about flowers, like if someone brought me flowers and someone kind of did like on the first meeting, like I thought it was a little bit too much.
Okay. Yeah. Flowers were not the best example. I'm just saying something thoughtful. Like,
yeah, she means something that, we understand that he's thinking.
That's relevant. My ex for our first date. Okay. We met on Tinder. Here's the story for you. We met on Tinder over 6 years ago. And we started talking, and he said, I really would like to pick you up for the date. I said, you're a stranger. That sounds crazy and creepy. No, thank you. And then I told my mom about this, and she said, I have a really good feeling about him. I think you should let him pick you up. This is my Jewish mother, who's always afraid that I'm going to get hurt. So somehow she had a feeling. He picked me up, and he had a gift for me. And I was like, what is this? He had brought me tarot cards that his mom had designed because he saw on my Instagram that I liked tarot cards. We dated for 5.5 years, and the thoughtful gift didn't freak me out. It didn't cost him anything. It's something his mom had made, and it was whatever. But I thought it was so cute because he knew exactly what part of who I am as a person. If it's a Coca-Cola, if it's you were talking about just a little thing, it's nice to be thoughtful, and I think that we've lost that.
I have a good question, because I think we're on this for too long.
Yes.
Maybe this is a good question. Okay. You're dating someone for 3 months. Now the romance phase, what do you call it again? The
honeymoon phase.
Honeymoon.
Courting.
Right. This is the most important part of the relationship. What is it that the girl is looking for past the honeymoon phase? Right. Because now all that excitement is out of the way. You know, all that like. What is the girl looking for?
Women love to be complimented.
I think they want to be like seen and understood.
Yeah, I think women are looking for like emotional intimacy in terms of like connection, like understand that like you know the basics and now you're trying to figure out how to like begin that phase of growing together.
Listen. Also, we listen, don't speak. Sometimes I think when we like in a relationship of like 3 months, you can say, like, it's that point where it's just the small things, like just listening and understanding, or just doing small gestures, as Molly was saying, like compliment, just
really
growing together.
The small gestures also show that you're looking out for the person too. You know, you want to like build the trust. So if you're looking out for the person, you know you can trust them and like lean on them for whatever reason.
I like when guys open doors for me, and especially post-COVID, because I don't want to touch any of the door.
Well, aren't you such a princess?
That's
I think also just showing that you want her to stay in your life. Like not just like she knows she's there already and like it's been 3 months, but like doing things to remind her that like you want her to stay there.
Right. Like lock her in your basement, for example.
Question on that, Becca?
Exactly. Strap her down to a chair.
Also, like
I can say what I can say what I personally like look for in a long-term relationship is like communication. So like when you're with someone for an extended period of time, I assume that you guys are going to have deep conversations, and I assume that like you guys might have things that you disagree on, and I look at how those things are resolved and how it's like communicated throughout the relationship. That's like the main thing that I look at.
Right. Well, communication is.
I agree with you, Melody.
It's a very big thing. In general, in relationships, I feel like.
I think at 3 months, including her in your world too, like she would want to know some of your friends. Maybe let her meet some peripheral people in your life. It doesn't have to be like your core people, I guess, if you're not comfortable with that. But that means so much. Like to me, that meant the most. Like being included in my ex's world, in his friends, in his life, because that means we can integrate together. You know, at the beginning of a relationship, you end up just kind of building your own little bubble, but you want to make it bigger and you want to see how would I fit in with your friends, with your family. That's like a big sign for sure for women. If you want to show that you're committed to her, is including her.
Motion to move to another question.
Motion to proceed.
Motion granted.
What does the guys think?
Yeah, let's do a guys to girls question.
Guys, it's almost 10.
Yeah, let's do. I see. Wow, 9:47. We are hitting the late hour, but let's give it 1 or 2 questions, and then we call it a night. I think it's been really insightful for both. Again, not everyone has to agree with everyone, and you have to understand what we have. Different individuals here. Everyone have their own things, and I don't think that everything is, a black and white question and answer. You can find a lot of different, I would say, niches to one question, or a few different answers to one question. One girl likes this, one guy likes that. It's just good to be aware of, the variety. And hopefully you don't get too confused. Now let's do. So who is next now? The guys or the girls?
Guys.
The guys.
Guys to girls.
Guys. Your honor. Who's next? Or what's the next question? Maybe Dan. Do you want to ask?
Yeah, I could just pick one at random.
Yeah.
Not that one, Dan.
I'm just kidding. Definitely not that one.
Tension is building.
No pressure. Well, Dan, thinking, I also want to say that, like, I can't speak for anyone else, but I would highly encourage, like, shit, it's frozen. Like if any guys or girls like have questions that they want to ask the other one, to just ask like anyone in the group.
Yeah,
and
agree.
This is your team.
But again, keep in mind, any of our answers, everything's a little bit situational too.
Yeah, obviously. I feel people should get that.
We have to do a disclosure.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is, it's a two-part question. I can do it in two parts if you want. I'll tell you both the questions up front, and then we can decide whether to approach them separately.
Okay.
Okay, so the two questions are, one, what makes you decide whether or not you will accept an invitation to go on a first date? So you might tell one guy, yes, I'll go on a date with you, and one guy, no. Like, how do you make that determination? That's question one. Question two is, after the first date, how do you decide whether to go on a second date or not?
Didn't we answer part 2 already?
Maybe.
I think we looked at
We didn't. You said no, right? I'm pretty sure you said.
It was similar.
It was a different question. Similar, but totally different question.
All right.
Forget about I really like.
It's been like 2 hours, guys.
Which is what you're talking about.
Part one is based on
attraction.
Attraction. It's how attracted we are, whether we have good texting conversation, whether we've FaceTimed, whether I feel comfortable and interested. It's just
I think that like the decisions go on.
Okay, time out. I've decided that we should do them separately. Let's do what makes you say yes to one person when they ask you out and no to another person. What are the criteria and factors that go into that decision?
I think attraction and compatibility are what would make me decide to go out with someone. And then deciding if I want to go on a second date is attraction, compatibility, and connection.
All right. We need you to dive into compatibility first.
My God.
Based on what I know, do I know if just based on what you know before the first date, are they looking for something similar, based on what I've heard about them from other people? Do our personalities work together? Are we living close enough that it could actually work?
Maybe do you like similar things? It looks like you like similar things.
Similar interests.
Okay.
Religious levels.
Let's look at the source of guys asking you out, right? It could be you met them at an event. It could be they slid into your DMs.
So how someone also approaches will also make me decide, the first conversation, the first approach will make me decide whether to or continue talking to them.
Okay. So let's first assume that you met them at a social event of some sort, right? So how they approached you, talk to us about the weeds of that.
I'll tell you what I look for. If a guy is very persistent and pushy and isn't respectful of my boundaries, if they ask me to go to a bar with them and it's COVID era right now, and I say, no, I'm not comfortable with that, and they start hating on me because why don't you want to go to a bar? Or why are you so why are you taking it so seriously and you're not respectful of the fact that I just told you I don't want to go and I don't even need to give you an explanation for why I don't want to go, then that's a serious issue and I don't want to go out with you. If you're very understanding and you're like, oh, no problem, sure, I completely understand whatever you're comfortable with, then okay, yeah, sure, we can get somewhere. True. But you have to be respectful of people's boundaries, and you also have to be mindful of stop pushing them. If they're not responding to your text, that doesn't mean text them a billion times to try and figure out how to go on a date. You guys have to
it'll make that person, maybe they'll come back and they need a second, they need a little break, or they're dealing with something. But if you continuously text them when they're not responding, then it's going to be the door will be locked.
I think that also, for example, I don't drink, and so if a guy asks me out for drinks, it's yes, it's annoying because that's what a lot of people do on first dates, but that's not something I do. So there are plenty of other things that you can do on a first date. So just figure it out instead of being okay, you don't drink, but you still want to go out for drinks. Like, that's just like square one.
Melody said was perfect. And what Becca said too, if you don't respect a woman's boundaries, then if you're not reading the cues, she said she doesn't feel comfortable doing something, then don't do it. Say, hey, no problem. What about, and then, picnic in the park. And then, is that something you're comfortable with? If you say, is that something you're comfortable with? Oh my gosh, that's like, I actually said yes to a date because he said that. And I said, I actually told Becca, I said, wow, this guy is respecting my boundaries. He didn't make me feel bad. He didn't like make me feel all weird about just not wanting to go to a restaurant. He said, oh, no problem. If you're more comfortable, we can do this or this. And I was like, okay, great. Definitely going on a date with him. Definitely not going on a date with a guy who's trying to force me to go to a restaurant when I think restaurants are canceled at this point for me.
Okay. That's a good bullet point. Don't be too pushy. Your pushiness could affect the decision. What else could affect the decision?
I think it's also the thought that goes in the next date. If there's not a lot of thought from one guy and there's more thought from the other, I think that kind of helps differentiate who you go out with next.
But I feel like you say yes before it even gets to that, right? It's like...
Well, if someone's like asking you, like already planning it, like let's do maybe this, like are you comfortable with this and this? And it seems more thought out and planned versus someone is just, I don't know, Sarah, maybe you can elaborate a little bit and help me.
I have a question, follow up. What if there's two guys, one guy is, in your opinion, really attractive, but a little pushy, but the other guy is less attractive but more nice? Would you pick the nicer guy or the more attractive, not as nice guy?
How pushy?
What the?
Not at the level where it's not like, oh, do you want to go to the bar? No. Why don't you want to do that? What's wrong with you? It's not that level of pushy, but you still get the sense they're not really respecting potentially what you want and care more about what they want to do.
The nicer guy.
The nice guy.
Yeah, I don't care how attractive you are. If you're not respectful or you give me like any sense of not being respectful of my boundaries,
I don't want to feel uncomfortable.
Like if you want a very large piece of advice, what Natasha was saying about like, literally you can ask a girl anything and at the end of it put, are you comfortable with that? And you will be a million times more likely to get it. Like if you're sliding into my DMs, and you decide that you want my number, instead of asking for my number and you ask me if I'm comfortable with giving my number, I'm now way more likely to give it to you because you're respectful and asking me if I'm comfortable with the idea.
Melody, you just nailed it. I like that. Thanks.
Absolutely. Melody, that was like the greatest thing that I've heard this whole time.
I like that.
Don't demand it, ask it.
We hear some good points here, guys. I hope everyone taking notes for some things at least.
But anyway, if you're gonna take note on anything, take note on that Melody just said, like asking if a girl's comfortable with something.
Yeah, you're validating. It's amazing. I mean, that's
you're
how
making
it works.
us feel, taken care of without even doing anything.
Yeah, Dan, did it answer your question in any way? Do you feel like you still want to hear more, or we can?
They gave us. I feel like there's a good way to have all of these discussions and answer all of these questions, and it's like it all has to be anecdotal, right? It's like example.
Yeah.
Melody gave one example. It was a great example. Other people elaborated on that example, but if we go back to the question, is what makes you say yes to one person and no to another, right? That's definitely not 80 to 90% of the time what it is. Like, oh, this guy's not pushy, therefore I will go out with him. This guy is pushy.
If one guy like makes me feel more comfortable with whatever he's saying than another guy does, I want to go on a date with a guy who makes me feel more comfortable.
For sure, I get that. Again, strong bullet point, but there's other bullet points missing.
Can I ask the question back to guys? Would you rather a girl? Wait. Would you rather a girl that makes you feel good over a girl that's attractive?
Depends on how I felt.
Comfortable.
Or a girl that makes you comfortable. What's your number one, attraction or feelings?
Depends on my state of mind.
They're both important. They're both very important.
Oh, that's a good question.
You can't compromise on either.
I think for a guy, attraction is much more it's different than the girl works. A girl is like, I would compromise on the good looks for a good person.
I think attraction is the first thing that a guy would looks at. It's like we instantly look at attraction, and that's what makes us approach the girl.
Of course, that's how guys work.
And then I feel like it's feelings and emotions that comes like right after that. So like, if you're instantly attracted to someone, then every day you wake up and you see their face, you're gonna get attracted again. It's like, as a guy, I feel like that's how it is, unless her personality is just really bad, right? So I think that's when feelings start to come in, and then you start to build that love for that person.
Yeah, I think also keep in mind that like girls get approached by many people, and there are usually many people in their DMs and like trying to text them. So keep that in mind when you're trying to approach them or trying to text them. It's like, it's a very big turnoff when, wait, Shira and Rabbi Jack are laughing.
No,
you're doing good. Go on.
I love what you're saying.
It's like we are being approached by many people. So like, you have to be careful with like the way that you're pushing us, and you have to be careful with like, we're looking for very different things because we have to sift through all these guys, whereas you guys,
right?
I don't want to hear that you didn't answer my question thing.
The question is, what are those things? And the question will remain.
Guys, basically, you're asking me, how do we sift through guys?
Yes, literally.
How you make us feel.
Guys, I'm laughing at Molly. I'm sorry, Molly, you're hilarious.
Like you need to show something like that shows. Give us something that shows your personality and makes us feel comfortable with you. And we can't tell you exactly what that is because it's different depending on you and depending on us.
Yeah, I don't think it's a question that you can really grasp on the answer. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard.
Remember,
question. I don't know.
My point is that we need a list of examples, and a list of examples lets people categorize those examples into an understanding of the concept.
Like an example of a DM that, like, no, this guy.
Would you like me to go through them?
Yes.
Figure out what.
Anyway, this was not my question. I'm just trying to get a good answer.
Dan, figure out what a girl is interested in, either by like, like talking to people she knows or asking her questions, or literally anything that you have to do is just like figure out what she likes to talk about and start to like figure out a way to like very comfortably and casually like bring that up so that it's you're already talking about something that she enjoys talking about.
That's a good example. It's a great bullet point. We now have 2 good bullet points.
That's the point of doing some research about.
Dan, we're trying to answer your question here.
Don't just say
we also look at attractiveness, by the way. We look at if someone's DMing you, we're looking at their pictures. If you have no pictures, we're not going to DM you back because that's a stranger. Like,
no.
Also, if you
when pictures are unattractive.
Don't ever message a girl on Instagram and then message her on Facebook. If she didn't answer your Instagram, she's not answering your Instagram. If you message her on Facebook, you know what she does? She blocks you because it's creepy. Now you've found her on 2 places and she feels scared and threatened. Yes.
I have a follow-up question to that, Natasha. Is there ever a scenario, honestly, where the only difference between creepy and not creepy is whether or not you find the guy attractive? If he sends you a message and you're attracted to him, it could be great. Versus same message, but it's creepy because you're not into it.
We could do a psychology study of that. It would be fun. We have 2 different photos and we send pictures, and we can have someone who's on like a very high level of attractiveness and someone who's more average looking and see what type of DMs they get back. They probably will get different ones, of course.
Wait, Jordan, you're asking if what you find more creepy, someone who's... Say it again.
No, obviously answers will be different depending on how attractive the guy is or how attractive you find the guy.
Of course, yeah.
Yes,
a lot of
attractiveness does determine if it's more creepy. I think
the line of creepy,
like how interested you are.
Right, like I'm saying, like is the line?
It's a factor. It's a factor.
Okay.
There's more leeway. Is that what you're saying?
It depends on everyone, and like for me, I don't care how attractive you are. This just goes back to what I was saying before. Like if you can't take hints and like you don't understand that like someone's boundaries. If you're messaging me on like 10 different places, then like to me that's a sign that you just aren't respectful and you don't have boundaries. So I don't care how attractive you are, but that's just not like, it depends on every girl, in my opinion.
So let's say you have a JSwipe account and it's connected to your Instagram. Let's just give you this example. And you don't swipe on, let's say the girl didn't swipe on you on JSwipe. So then you can see her Instagram. So you click on her Instagram and you go and you message her in her DMs. If she didn't swipe on you in JSwipe, it probably means that she's not interested. There was something that she doesn't think is compatible. The age range isn't right, whatever that is. But then if you've decided that you're making the decision for her in a sense, that you've slid into her DMs, and it's a little creepy then because it's like, if I want to, I'll swipe on you too. It's a mutual thing. So if you've then slid into my DMs and you're in my little request section, I didn't consent to that in a sense. It's like then you want me to answer and you want to comment on things. That becomes creepy. So I would say you want someone who's into you, right? No one wants someone that's not into them. So we all have to look for something that's mutual.
Also, as in touch with saying, don't follow someone's Instagram or requests on Facebook or any social media without permission. If you guys haven't been talking.
I wouldn't give that advice to guys. I would
or anyone. I'm just putting it out there. It is creepy for anyone.
Yeah, you don't want to do it on multiple social media platforms, but if you find a girl attractive, you could add her and just message her. Like, that's not good advice to tell a guy not to.
I get very overwhelmed with all of the apps, and like I will have times where I just like don't touch any of them and then do and like have too many people on there, and like there are probably guys on there that would be a great match for me, but like I am so overwhelmed with it that I can't do it. So it depends on what a guy says. If he like decides to message me on Instagram or Facebook or something, most of the time, if it's just like, hey, saw you on JSwipe or Hinge and like think you're really cute, like then it's nothing. It like that doesn't do anything. But if it's something that's like more original or like unique or funny in a not creepy way, which I don't even know an example of what that would be, but then I'd say then it's fine.
I have an example.
Of course, Molly has an example.
Thank you, Molly.
It's like so I have pictures, for example, I just went to Joshua Tree the other weekend. I'm not trying to brag. But if someone messaged me and went ahead and said, like, they slid in and went, like, oh, you went to Joshua Tree. Like, that's cool. How was it? Like, comment on, like, maybe one of their photos. Like, oh, like, low-key stalked you. Like, you went to ASU. Like, go Sun Devils. I don't know. Like, oh, you go to bars and get drunk? No way, me too. No, just kidding. Don't say that.
I think
every girl is different, I feel like, in that aspect.
But if Rabbi has no idea what's happening right now. Rabbi, does any of this make sense to you? Just pretend like it does. It's fine.
Yeah, I lived on a campus for 5 years.
Guys, you forget that we lived the college life for 5 years, I think.
Wait, you forgot that this is how they met. This is
yeah, no, it's definitely not.
The hush-hush secret.
Wait, what?
Sorry.
What?
I was just going to say, if a girl doesn't add you back, it means she's not interested. If she doesn't follow you back on Instagram, you've become one of her followers. You're not, so don't message her. That's it. That's like a good sign, generally speaking. I'm not saying all the time, but I'm just saying generally speaking. And message her on her story, respond to a story. Don't send a message. That's a much better, like, hey, that's so cool. Where is that place?
I disagree.
Okay, I don't know anymore.
Sorry. That's just my thing.
As you see, women has different, opinions. Not everyone's
You're
the
not
same.
going to get a direct answer, but like what Molly said, what everyone else has said, just comment on something that shows they're interested in, whether it's an app or their Instagram. I don't know. Like, I really like to play tennis. I post it on my story. It's on my Hinge account, whatever, and it grabs a lot of attention, and then their response to that gets my attention. And it shows we have a common interest.
It also shows that, like, you, like, even looking at pictures, kind of like you took an interest in them.
Yeah. I'm going to be more practical about this. If you're a guy, shoot your shot. 100%. 100%. The girls are speaking from the perspective of they get turned off by a guy that they're not into anyway, right? So don't reach out because it's creepy. Doesn't matter. If they're not going to go out with you anyway, message them.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes it works.
I'm just saying you can reach out, just get the hint if a girl doesn't message back in a certain amount of time. Don't continue the message.
To tack onto that, like, I think it's fine if a guy reaches out, but don't just say like, "Hi, I think you're pretty," because like girls are getting a million messages with guys saying, "Hi, I think you're really pretty." Like that doesn't do anything. That's not unique at all. It doesn't make you stand out. Even if she thinks like, "Yeah, you're kind of attractive," like it doesn't do anything to make her want to talk to you because like a girl has a lot of guys who are pretty attractive saying, "Hi, I think you're really pretty," and like. It doesn't do anything to make them stand out. So
don't say hi, cutie, or anything like.
It's like a copy and paste response.
Question: we can change the topic on this. Dan, can we change or no? You want to stick on?
I mean, it's all up to whoever. I don't even remember who asked.
Dan, go for it. Go for it.
Okay,
you could go for it.
I want to ask both parties. First, to the girls, what defines a man? And don't give me the. Oh, he's nice, he's caring. Like, come on, we already know that stuff. What defines a man? Okay, and get people the answer.
Integrity.
Chivalry.
Did you say what defines a man?
Just one at a time, bullet points.
A good man,
like
you
chivalry.
say?
Yeah.
I love chivalry. So then that also can show respectfulness too.
I think when someone's very ambitious.
Can you
passionate about what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I would say confidence and self-awareness.
Family man.
Thoughtfulness.
They have a direction in their life. And like they're not just sitting around doing nothing. Even if maybe they're in between jobs, they kind of are still persistent of wanting to do something.
They show that they care about other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Yeah.
Oh, that they can do stuff on their own. They don't need their parents to do it for them.
Independent.
Yeah, independence, right? Yeah.
Okay.
That they're good at listening to like what you say. Like what I said about how like on a first, like this guy I was talking to, I told him how much I love Diet Coke and he brought me a Diet Coke on a first date. Like if they listen to what you say and they turn it into something else like that.
Actions.
I think also girls want to be asked questions like about themselves so that they can like share and reveal who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. And okay, so a follow-up to that. What do you think a guy needs to do to get very deep with you, to really understand the core of you?
Keep asking questions and just constantly listen to what we say.
Ask questions about what. Sorry, what?
Yeah, I said your family. Ask about her family.
Ask questions about things like ask her about what she cares about, and then with each thing, like go deeper into that.
I think also doing activities with a person rather than just constantly being asked questions. Like the activities get you more comfortable with the person. Personality comes out without you even asking the questions. And then once everyone gets that certain comfort level, then you can start asking more of those deeper questions. It doesn't all have to be on one first date, first 2 dates. It can just be throughout. Once after all the activities are done together, you get that comfort level.
So go hiking or play tennis versus watching a movie, the first date.
Cool.
I still think that we should bring bubbles to the date, like Natasha said.
I would love that.
Not COVID
You
friendly.
can go to the 99-cent store and get bubbles.
Honestly, that's one of those things that'll make you stand out. That'll make you stand out. Hey, do you mind if we blow some bubbles?
You know what? Honestly, if a guy brought bubbles to a date, you know how much I would talk about it with my friends?
He will definitely stand out.
It's something not COVID friendly. I was just trying to think of something, and I was like, something easy and cheap that costs nothing, right?
Or you can get a bubble machine, like the one that
guns.
Bubble
It's
guns.
so funny. I just took my kids to
You don't need to DM them
park
and
and
say,
bubbles.
hey, you're pretty. You say, hey, I have bubbles. You want to kick it?
Yes,
Exactly.
Bubbles and chill.
bubble guns. That would be.
So, I know what Gabe is bringing to his next date
that I go on. I don't care. That's what I'm doing.
What qualities are guys
He doesn't with anyone. Next time he goes to hang out, he's bringing bubbles.
Hey, Gabe, I like your bubbles.
Like, see, what an icebreaker that would be if you're like using bubble guns at the first 5 minutes when you're uncomfortable.
Nobody does that. Nobody does that.
No one does
Exactly.
that.
It would be amazing.
I like weird. Gabe, I told you, I lead with my weird. That's the way to do it. Bubbles.
There you go. Take notes, gents.
And every single one of us, the next day we go on, we're bringing bubbles.
Seriously. And you got to update, obviously, the group, how it went and what, if you got a second date, you know?
No,
100%. If a guy just texted like bubble fight,
whoa.
Then you can see if they have a sense of humor or not. If you bring a bubble gun and the girl is like, ew, what's that? She's not the girl for
then
you.
I would want, yeah.
Sense of humor is also
humor. No sense of humor.
Can I ask a question? So, how much initiative should girls take?
Oh,
like,
that's
if a guy likes a girl, is he definitely gonna ask her out, or does he also like want to see initiative from her?
Good question, Chloe. Guys.
I think it's always nicer if the girl does take initiative, but it's very rare, so you feel the obligation is to ask her out. But I think most guys would love it if the girls were kind of straightforward and that they were interested.
Really?
I agree, yeah. Because a lot of guys don't know for sure. So being reassured is really helpful sometimes.
Literally, if you just said, yeah, it like, because I feel like, oh, am I being like annoying because I asked her first, or I feel like I have to ask her on another date. If she was like, hey, I'm still interested in doing something, then I'm like, okay, I got my confirmation, and now I'll go in the
What about for like the first date?
What do you mean?
Like a girl asking a guy out on the first date?
Yeah.
I would say yes. I mean, but also I'm not really, I don't put a lot of pressure on.
You guys in general, like, is that a turnoff for you, or do you know it?
No.
Are there any guys that don't like it if like a girl would ask a guy out on a date?
Not like a second or third date. Like I'm talking about like.
No,
personally, I'd be down.
Badass independent woman. It's a huge turn on.
Absolutely.
Hold your hand first.
It shows us that you know what you want, right?
I think it's hard for girls to do that because a lot of girls are like constantly and consistently being asked out by guys all the time that like it's already kind of overwhelming. And then to like go out of our way to like ask a guy out is like, I don't know. I don't know if any girls feel like that.
That's good to know though, because I always felt like I was, if I were to, I would be too annoying. It would turn them off.
What if we hold your hand first? What if we're on a date? Let's say it's been 7 dates, whatever is the appropriate time. Literally just to hold your hand.
With gloves, with the gloves
and hand
with
sanitizer.
a gloved hand.
What would you be like?
Glove, guys.
Hold my hand
No,
first.
I think anytime the girls take the lead, it like eases your worries about
anxiety.
Okay.
But do you guys?
But what
like
about
the
if you're not
chase?
interested?
I think you like the chase. I truly believe you guys like the chase, and that's like that. If you don't get to completely chase the person and run around like crazy, then you're not interested.
I think there's fundamental. Well, I think there's like two very common types of guys. There's guys who like the chase, and there's guys who have more anxiety about the chase. And I think it's really hard to tell early on whether the guy is all about the chase or needs the reassurance. So some guys are just different. I mean, I don't know, but
yeah, if you could have a girl who reassures you, if she's reassuring about who you are as a man, you don't want the chase. Like that's of course if you're taking it seriously, right? If you're just looking to mess around and go on it, like hook up with her, then yeah, you're right. But if there's a man who's like looking to take things serious, he doesn't want to chase, right? He doesn't, like, for example, let's say you're 20. Okay, let me put it in perspective. You're 28, 30 years old, 32 years old, right? You're kind of at the point of your life where you're taking your job seriously, your family seriously, right? And the last thing you want is to mess with a girl who's like iffy. You want to take your life seriously, so we don't want to chase. At that point, I think a guy wants to take things seriously. That's
the chase, honestly, is like an appeal when you're in like college, more chasing the hookup. I think when you want to date seriously, you're not like, oh, let me, hunt her, like make sure I get the girl. It's just like Let's see if we're compatible. It's more real.
True.
How do you know if you want to date seriously? What signs can we look for?
Wait, can I add one thing? Can I add one thing before we change to that question? So I agree that if you're dating seriously, you don't want the chase. But that being said, there's also, you don't want the girl to be too available, which I know is like, I don't want to be saying that because I wish it weren't the case, but it's just human nature. If someone's too available, then it's like, why do you like me so much? You know, what's going on here? So you have to find the balance. I think personally, it might just be me, Natasha disagrees. I'm not saying that they should, Natasha, I'm not saying that they should play hard to get at all by any means or play games. But if they're like so eager that you're like, dude, chill, like you should be being pursued by other people that are cool and somewhat attractive. What am I missing? I'm telling you, like, I mean, you studied psychology, so I don't have a leg to stand on here, but I believe that is an evolutionary thing.
I agree with Dan on this.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting point.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, moving on.
So basically for us girls, in order to make sure that we can get the guy that we like and have feelings for and whatever, we need to play hard to get in many senses. Obviously in the physical sense, it should
not
be
necessarily.
No, I don't think it's playing hard to get. I think it's like
distant.
I think it's like, for example, like if a guy is texting me right now and wants to FaceTime because like he wanted to FaceTime tonight, hypothetically, like, and I say, I can't, I'm on like another call that I want to be on with a bunch of my friends. Like I can't FaceTime with you because I'm like with my friends right now. So I think it's like partially that, like you can't give up other things that you want to do for a guy. Like it has to be like, it's not anything that we're like doing in terms of like talking to or being with a guy is like on our time so that he can't just like ask and has it.
So you're saying that it shouldn't be a priority?
It's not that it's not a priority. It should be a balance.
Follow-up question.
Go, Joe.
Don't be a pushover.
Texting versus phone call. So obviously this could be, depends on your opinion, right? Some people love to talk on the phones. Someone mentioned like, someone had a question about texting all the time. There's some conversations you just can't have by text, right? You got to have by phone or whatever. But I guess the main point of the question is just how early, I guess, how soon, I guess COVID changed all of this, but assume it's not COVID. How soon is it to, I guess, talk on the phone?
I think you need to ask the person because that's a very personal.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, at that point, you've met them 3 times. You kind of got a comfort level. Sorry, I'm like so dark. I don't know what's going on with my computer. But I think it kind of gives you like a grasp of where the comfort level stands and how much you really have in common with the person and like if things can really move forward. If anyone who disagrees with me, please feel free.
Are you talking about before you go on the first date or after you've already started?
No, let's say you guys have gone on a date or 2. Let's say 1 or 2.
Okay, then I think you can have a conversation about it.
Yeah, I feel like there's some people who just don't like it. I don't know. Like, I'm just curious.
Some people also hate texting. So having that conversation, and I feel like if I would have had that conversation with certain people in the past, like certain guys in the past, it would have made it a lot smoother because I'm someone who texts a decent amount, but then someone who I was talking to in the past is not a texter, and I would get upset. So just knowing everyone's like level of comfortability.
Does that make sense?
I think also like if
maybe I'm not answering your question.
I think like if it's a normal like non-coronavirus time, like I wouldn't like if a guy called me like during work hours just because it was convenient for him and then I like couldn't talk, or if I don't know. I like when someone like if we're texting and he says like, "Can I call you right now?" Because then it's like you're saying that you want to talk on the phone, but it also gives a girl permission to say that she can't talk at the moment.
No, for sure. Like I'm at the desk, I can't talk. I have a day job, like I can't, in the middle of the day. But so exactly, like let's say it's the middle of the day, and then hypothetically, let's say someone's trying to have a serious conversation by text, but this person, you just can't have some conversations by text, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. So
you can also ask like, can we talk about this on the phone when you have time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the best.
My advice when it comes to like having serious conversations over text is like, from personal experience, there can be a lot of miscommunication. So like if that's
exactly what I'm getting at.
Yeah, you don't even have to be like, hey, do you want to talk on the phone? It's more so just a matter of like, to prevent miscommunication, I'd like to have this conversation over the phone. Can you let me know when you're available?
So just backstory, I've done everything you guys said, and I still got hey, I don't think I'm being unreasonable right now. So you ladies come up with every excuse. I'm just saying, some ladies come up with excuses.
So she's probably someone who hates talking on the phone, or like doesn't feel like she could say what she needed to say on the phone, or like that she's not good enough at vocalizing it that way. So wanted to have that conversation over text, which I think, like personally, my opinion is that's like a bit immature, but I guess like to each your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, Becca or whoever said that, ask the person if they're available before you call them, because someone called me the other day during work, even though I was getting off work early, just not that day. And I literally texted them asking if it was a butt dial. So you kind of just want to like feel it out first, ask the permission.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm thinking of a specific, anyways, I'm just thinking of a specific conversation that like went bad only because this person started asking like continuous serious questions. And it's like, do you want to see me so we can talk about it? Or do you want me to continue answering your questions as texts are flying back and forth? And I did everything Melody said, but yeah.
Then I think, as Becca said, then she's just someone who doesn't want to talk on the phone and doesn't feel comfortable.
But this person was like, I don't think I'm being unreasonable right now. And I'm like, okay, well, okay.
Then that's their problem.
It's on her, not you.
Yeah, I'm thinking she have a problem. Yeah,
that's her problem.
Yeah, I mean it basically went south from there. It kind of we just like met up to discuss, and it just blew up in her face. I think if she had just waited for me to just like, it was weird. It just killed the vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't kill the vibe.
I mean, it sounds like you were doing everything right there.
Yeah,
I tried, but when someone's like, hey, I'm not doing anything wrong, just answer my questions. And I'm like, I can't,
and
I don't like.
confusing and move on.
That's her problem.
I don't like to answer.
That's really rude, honestly.
You have to talk to every girl on WhatsApp so you can do voice messages.
That's a good point. Voice messages
are great.
That's actually a good point.
You can do that over texting.
Yeah.
You can, but it disappears. It's awful.
They expired.
Hey guys, really good.
What is Apple thinking?
Great transition to a question I have. It's very general, but I know a lot of people have opinions on it, and that is green message bubbles.
It means you're poor. Get an iPhone.
I'm not even kidding.
No, because then you can't FaceTime with them. No.
Omri, you heard me right. Get an iPhone.
Get an iPhone.
WhatsApp.
Get an iPhone or do WhatsApp. No.
WhatsApp.
No green bubbles.
Oh my!
I'm just joking, but I like sending stickers.
Stickers are pretty great. No, I also hate it because I don't have service in my place, so I can't like message my people who don't have iPhones.
I think the thing that I'm learning the most about this session from both sides is just communication. And if there's lack of communication on the other side, then that's the answer. Like if there's no communication, that's your answer. And if there's communication, then we're not going to have this, like this conversation tonight wouldn't exist if
of course
you didn't have a conversation, if you didn't have a communication issue.
Also, my Zoom froze when I said this earlier, but so I don't know if anyone heard it or not, but I think like we have this amazing group of us that like we have this resource to be able to just like ask each other questions about like if we have a question about like the other gender and like not understanding something, like we can ask each other.
Yeah, if you guys have anything, like anyone wants to talk about anything, like a specific scenario, and get like, I'm saying my opinion or any other female or any other opinion, I am welcome to, like, I'm open to hearing that specific scenario to help you out better. That's for
Beautiful.
anyone.
Thank you, Julia.
I think sometimes, because right now we are generalizing, and I think some of us also need that specific scenario answered.
Of course, that's why I think when we learned about when we were talking about the team, so it's important to have that kind of support, that kind of person that you'll be able to go back to and ask questions, and like hear someone else's perspective that's not necessarily inside your own story, and have a clear understanding of what's happening, as well as not having any agenda, and to make sure of that, you need to make sure you have the right person to ask. So that's
also why I'm going to say this, guys. That is why girls talk to a big part of why girls talk to their friends is to, one, hear it out loud for themselves, but also get an opinion, because our friends will tell us, they'll tell us what's real about it and what they see, if they've met the guy or what they hear, if they hear any red flags, or because they want our best interest at heart. So it's kind of like an objective opinion. So that's why we talk to our girlfriends.
Yeah, I mean, guys do less talking, I guess, but yeah. So,
I don't know if guys talk to their friends about their dates with girls. So
No, never.
No, of course not.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, guys don't talk much.
Full of detail that we do, though.
Wait, so you serious? Like
I'm disclosing it that we will tell every detail to our friends, our best friends. So just beware. Just know that
every little detail of the date.
That's why I always say that you. That's why I always say you got to be in your best behavior.
We'll tell the highlights and the lowlights, not just the general
not everything.
Stuff. Oh my god, she was so awesome, or like this ridiculous shit that she said. That's the things that will come up.
Oh no, we go into like first we did this and then we did this. We go into like every minute.
Well, here you go. You just
I think this is a Friends episode.
Every conversation we had.
Yeah, you just learn a lot about women. I feel like here in this chat, as well about men. We work very differently. So if anyone will tell you the men and women are the same, here you go. You got the answer. We're definitely not the same. We think differently, and it's important to recognize the differences and work with it in order to be on hopefully the same page and understand each other and be open to hearing. So I think we're going to wrap up tonight. It's 10:32. That was, I think, a lot of fun. I am hopefully guys and girls got something out of it, and some good conversation and communication. And, from what we've heard in the past and working with a lot of girls throughout the years, a lot of questions come up, a lot of uncertainties. And you know what? If they were all able to chat with groups like this and really get some insights and get some education, things would have been different, and people can have hopefully better experiences going forward. And again, I'm not saying everything is going to be like perfect, hopefully, but, there are challenges all the time. And like we said, not every question has a concrete answer. Every woman is different. Every guy is different. But at least to have a general idea. And of course, that's why we have the team and have someone that we can ask and really get a close up on what goes on and hopefully analyze everything and know what to do going forward. Would you like to say a few words before we end up?
I think that's it. It's been awesome. I've just been noticing how, based on your conversation, how for guys, it's so important to understand that we actually market ourselves when we when a guy goes out with a girl, he's marketing himself. His name is now going to go to 10 other girls that are prospects for you if this date doesn't work. So it just shows that we have to really be on our best behavior when dating. And it's something which I've always been teaching. We've been always teaching. But it's been emphasized a little bit more now, which is, whatever you do is going to be spoken about to many girls, and they're all going to know about you. So
especially in the Jewish community.
That, it's like sometimes, like, I know one of my friends, like, she'll talk with a guy and she won't think that she's interested in him, but she'll like mark it and be like, oh, I think he's interested. So we also, we help each other.
Yeah, it's a big mitzvah too.
It's an awesome thing to do. Yes.
It's a great team.
I know we're about to end it, so I was wondering if I could posit one more kind of overarching question that could go into the whole thing here.
Go ahead. I mean, we're already late anyway, so who cares? If anyone is really tired, you can, leave. It's totally fine.
So the question is there a stigma with dating other people within the H-Lit community?
Ooh, that's a big question. We'll let some other people answer because it's a question that I'm faced a lot and you're faced a lot. So we'll let you answer. Anyone here want to answer before maybe I say something or you?
It's a very tough one.
Yep. Anyone?
Coming into H-Lit, I would say I was told that there's kind of a sort of environment where everyone is really close and very connected with each other. So it's very important to move with caution and and just be very careful with kind of making sure that you're friends before you go on to anything else, because at least for me, it's like coming into a group, I want to make sure that I've established like a good solid friendship with everybody and not acted in a way that like doesn't allow for me to interact with everyone on a good standing. So, and I've also just heard that, there is a big kind of general consensus that H-Lit dating is you date outside of H-Lit. H-Lit's like a safe space with lots of friends. That's kind of what I experienced so far.
Okay, that's Natasha. Thank you so much for your input on that. Anyone else want to say anything? Because I definitely have things to say.
I was just gonna say, I think dating one person in Aish is like dating everyone in Aish, just because it is such a small community. Like it's not really private.
But not everyone.
I don't know.
Not everyone who comes to H-Lit comes all the time. I mean, you might have people who are there once a month, there once every couple of months. And
that's true.
Present. So.
He's right.
I think as long as you go into it knowing that, like I don't think you should go into it unless you're like if it's something that you want it to be very casual and you're not sure about what the other person thinks, then don't do it. Not a good idea. But if you can openly talk about it and communicate and say okay, if this doesn't work out, we're still going to see each other all the time. Are we okay with that? And
exactly. I think, Becca, you have a really good point, and I think I've said that to so many by now, because we feel, and I'm speaking on your behalf, you can add whatever you want. Mm-hmm. We created this community. It's a safe space and everything, but we also don't want it to be in a way that it's like a taboo. No one is allowed to date anyone in the community, because people voice their fears to me and say I love this so much, I don't want to mess up. Meaning if I know that I'm, let's say, dating this person and it's not going to go well, I'm going to have to make decisions, because if they're going to be coming all the time, I'm going to have to not come and miss out. Or the other way around, or I'm going to have to see them all the time. And I find that, of course, it's a very good and valid point, and it happens to people. And let's put it this way, people have dated within H-Lit in the past. It's not like it never happened. But going back to what Becca is saying, a lot has to do with the consideration and understanding that we're all part of kind of like this community or whatever, and we want to make sure that it's not going to, at least to the best of, you know, your, I guess, ability and control, to make sure that it's not going to affect anything after if something doesn't work out. So that's why I feel like it's really important for guys to be at their best and girls also to be responsive and being open about their feelings and about what they want or don't want. So guys also don't have to, like, again, try to do the guessing games and try to figure out what we feel. And again, to do with guys, just to make it much more open space for people to be able to do that. Because at the end of the day, if you do feel that there's someone, let's say in the community, that you really think can be a good fit for you, you should make the effort. I mean, whether you're a guy or girl, whatever, but to maybe pursue it in a, you know, kind of like low key, but just to see what the outcome, you're going to see them. So there are options. Now it's a little different because there's not much of meetings, you know, there's not much events or Shabbat meals. But I definitely think that this is something that has to be pursued. And we were contacted many times. I mean, me, Rabbi Jack, like, hey, I like this person or that person. What do you think I should do? How do you think I should go about it? Like, I know you know them better. And we always try to make it the easiest and the more, I would say, like the most natural. And if it doesn't work out, we always say, it's okay. I mean, you try once, twice, 3 times, but try to make sure that you're genuine and you're authentic. And if it doesn't, you need to know how to move on. That's all.
I also want to say that you should date with somebody in Ishlit. And the reason is because they're most compatible to you. So if you find someone that you like, never have that fear which will hold you back from dating them, because actually compatibility-wise, that person's fitting into your algorithm the most. Better than any JDate or Hinge or any of the others. The algorithm of the fact that you both are coming, and I'm not saying this because I have an interest in mind. It's nothing to do with, actually, I'm also concerned that it might not work out, right? But that concern can't stop you from succeeding in life. It's like saying, I'm not gonna work because maybe I'll fail. I mean, this is an opportunity. This is a place where there's people like-minded. We're talking about people that are all studying about the effective dating series. Okay, so they're gonna be similar-minded. They're on the right path. That saves so much trouble. So if you find someone attractive to you in this program, there's many people that say this, I've never found anyone that's for me in the program, until they find someone that's for them in the program, right? Yeah. But if you do find someone that's attractive to you in the program, and we have big Shabbats, we have big things going on.
Hopefully going back to it.
Back to it. Those are the first people that you should look into. And the fear of, what if this is not going to work out, is a fear of not living. It's a fear of saying, oh, I shouldn't work because maybe my work will fail. I shouldn't, it's like saying don't live.
We have to know how to take risks in life. And I think as human beings, we always take risks. You know, any of you that moved to LA for a job and you don't have a family, you took a big risk. You know, we also did when we moved here, not knowing what we're even going to be doing here. We knew we were going to do something. But anyway, so that's, I think,
it's a good
that's
question.
My opinion. But I'd love to hear any of you add to that. Gabe, if you have anything that you would like to
honestly, I completely agree with Rabbi Jack. I think that there should be absolutely no stigma whatsoever. I hear what Becca's saying, where it's like, you might run into someone you already dated, and it could be awkward. It could prevent you guys from going. But at the end of the day, I think Rabbi Jack is completely on the nose with saying that, like, the people that are at Ishlit are the people we're looking for with the values we want. And, like, you can swipe it up on Hinge all day long, but at the end of the day, you're going to find someone who keeps Shabbat at Ishlit. And if that's the values you want, then ask them out, and don't think about, like, the awkwardness because, we're all a family. I don't want to ruin the dynamic. I don't think that should be top of mind whatsoever. I think what should be top of mind is that Ishlit is basically one giant shadchan in itself.
Yes, I agree.
Well, that's how people look at us. You know how many requests and emails that we have from random people, like, hey, I hear you have such a big community. Can you, like, help me find someone? Like, are you willing to meet with me and get to know me so you can see maybe you can find someone? And I always say, you know, obviously whenever we can, it's like I say, yes, of course, because people do understand when you have a lot of Jews, you know, learning and growing and working on themselves and do have some education and talk between them, it's definitely going to be better than finding anyone out there that's not going to line up with your values. Obviously, you have to be attracted to them and the whole thing, and we spoke about everything, but yeah, I don't think it should stop anyone from doing things in the right way.
I think it's all about risk management, right? It's like there's obviously a big risk, and if it doesn't work out, if you get rejected, it's awkward, or if you date and then it doesn't work out, it's also awkward.
Right.
So,
but there's also a big reward too.
Of course, that's what risk management is all about, the reward.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just don't take risk. So the point is that there's a few ways to mitigate the risk. One is, like, if they're not into you, then it would be good to know that before the rejection so that it's not awkward, right? So hopefully you're friends with someone that's friends with them that you can talk to. And then it's not as awkward if you didn't talk to them directly, right? Like, they could float the idea by the person. And if they're like, no, they're not into you, it might hurt a little, but it hurts less than if the person said it to you. And then it's awkward forever for not just you two, but potentially everyone. So there's that. And then I think there's also a certain level of research you can do to see if it's a potential long-term fit, right? Like, do you have shared values? Like, there's certain things that you know are requirements for you. So why would you ask them out and find that out in a dating scenario if they're in your quote-unquote family? There's a lot of ways to find that out beforehand, and then you can avoid the whole situation.
Exactly. And that's what we're talking about when we say do research, especially when it's within your community. It's much easier. Even if you just reach out to their friends or any of us, we're probably going to be able to give you more information than any stranger out there.
100%.
Totally. By the way, I just wanted to say one more thing. The thing about green messages was totally a joke. If they're equality NJB, don't base it off the color of the text messages. Just use WhatsApp.
Which is kind of green anyway, the app, so.
It's also green. That's true.
Just wanted to say that. Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Wow. That was insightful evening. I think this is like the record, 10:46. So we're going to wrap up. Thank you all so much for being open, for speaking, and looking forward. We'll update you what's next.